Well, howdy, Crossroads, and happy Weather Wednesday. I'm 25 News Now Sunrise meteorologist Parker Cox, taking a little gander at what you could expect for the forecast for the rest of your Weather Wednesday, but also what you could expect for next week. A little hint there, y'all could expect possibly a little bit of tropical activity. I know the tropical hurricane season has already begun, just 4 days into it here, but we may have something to talk about next week, so stay tuned for the end of this forecast. We're going to be talking about that, but first things first, we're going to be talking about the rain because we have rain chances yet again for today. It's going to be at another very low 20%, so don't get your hopes up too much for today, but maybe keep your hope up and maybe you can see some rain. Here's your future tracker, timing out the rest of the afternoon time on your Wednesday. Here's noontime, 1 p.m. There's going to be probably a few isolated, maybe scattered showers, maybe a couple weak thunderstorms that will develop as we go into the afternoon time that will form off of a dissipating dry line that will be passing through the area going into the afternoon, early afternoon that is. But here's 1 p.m. You can see I don't think it's going to look this scattered, I'm going to go ahead and say right off the bat. And I also want to say I don't think we're going to have this big of hail. You can see some purple colors in there. We're going to look at that severe risk right after this. Here's 3 p.m., 4 p.m., still some scattered, maybe isolated spotty showers out there still ongoing. 5 p.m., by the time you're getting off work, still a little bit of rain activity possible out there. Still don't think it's this scattered. Going into later this afternoon, 6 p.m. and into the evening time, sometime around 5 or 6 p.m., we'll see the decrease in rain activity all the way through the rest of the evening. And here's 9 p.m., and we should be looking partly cloudy for the rest of the overnight hours with maybe one leftover spotty shower. But other than that, like I was saying, don't worry about severe weather today. The main risk is going to be up here in the Panhandle, but we do have a level 1 out of 5 marginal risk just for our northern counties. We're talking about folks in Lavaca County and Gonzales County, Hallettsville and Gonzales. Y'all might see maybe, if any stronger storms that form, y'all might maybe see some strong wind gusts. That's going to be your main threat for today. No threat for hail or tornadoes. But what I really want y'all to worry about, if anything to worry about, it's going to be the heat today. Looking for highs ranging for most of us going to be in the low 90s. I'm thinking about 92 in Victoria, 92 in Cuero, and about 89, 90 today in Port Lavaca before overnight tonight we'll drop our lows back into the warm mid and upper 70s. In the background though, we're going to have some moderate humidity, bringing humidity disease between 103 to 107. So make sure that we're staying hydrated and cool. And make sure that your AC is working because summer has begun. Meteorological summer has, that is. We're into the 4th day, actually, and the heat is going to build. So get used to it because going into this weekend and into next week, high pressure, which is the driving force behind our heating trend, is going to build over our heads. You can actually see it right here on the upper air tracker. Here is a dome of high pressure that will build over this weekend and actually park itself somewhere all over Mexico, possibly East Pacific, maybe even over the Western Gulf as we go into middle next week. But this map is actually important. Why? Because it's going to show you how long the heat will stay over us, but also it will actually show, depending on where the high pressure ends up going into late next week, it's going to keep us safe from any tropical development because high pressure systems normally act as a shield barrier kind of mechanism in the tropics that usually steer systems away from us. But what this high will also do, which is going to stir up the tropical activity, is it's going to cause sort of like a folding pattern in the jet stream, and that's going to cause a subtropical high pressure system to form over the Atlantic, middle of the Atlantic Ocean. And usually that forms in the mid to late summer, and that's why we're watching the tropics for next week. So here's the current tropical outlook and what you can expect for the next 7 to 14 days. That's week to 2 weeks. So over the last few days, we've been talking about an area that might move into the Gulf with a low 5% confidence rating on that. Since the last couple days that y'all have seen me, I have actually downgraded that and moved it over into the Western Caribbean because computers no longer see that happening. If anything, it's going to form right here, and it will move westward into Central America and maybe even southern Mexico. Now, we do still have another area just off the eastern coast of America, of the United States, just off the coast of, it looks like, Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina. That has actually since then been downgraded to a near 0% chance of formation over the next 3 days by the Hurricane Center because it's likely to form over land, which would not be tropical. Now, moving over to the Pacific, we have an area just off the southern coast of Mexico. High chance of forming, not coming our way, no need to worry about that, but maybe let your family know in Mexico, if you have any, that there may be a system forming over there soon. And then this is the main area we're going to be watching over the next 10 to 20 days, 10, 15 to 20 days or so, where there are now two separate computer models suggesting or partial agreement that a system will form somewhere down here in the southwestern Caribbean and start skirting northwestward into the Gulf, to which I have now a 7% low confidence rating, upgraded from 5% to which I had yesterday and the day before on Monday. And you're probably asking, why do I have it a little bit higher but not high enough to really worry about just yet? Well, looking at the latest Climate Prediction Center's tropical outlook for the extended outlook, you can see they have that greater than 20% risk of something forming here in the Western Caribbean and Southern Gulf for not just late next week, but also the week after that and the Southern Gulf. You can see this is greater than 20% chance of tropical cyclone formation probability. And this is updated every Tuesday. So this was updated yesterday, Tuesday afternoon. So this is the latest outlook from them. So this is giving you a pretty good idea of what might happen in the tropics over the next 2 to maybe even 3 weeks or so. So that is exactly why we are watching that little area right there in the tropics, because we might be something forming over there. You can actually see that right here in the future tracker. First system will form in the Pacific, and boom, there it goes. Moving northwest, not coming our direction. Here's that other area in the Western Caribbean. Boom, not coming our way. Might not even form into anything. But here's the main one we're going to be watching going into next weekend. Not this weekend, but next weekend. So, for the latest on the tropics and for the latest on the forecast in the crossroads, you can always tune in for the latest on 25 News Now at 5, 6, and 10 o'clock on the weekdays. You can also tune in to Fox 19 at 9 o'clock. You can also tune in with me on Sunrise on 25 News Now at 5 to 6 and 7 a.m., also on the weekdays as well. And for timely updates, maybe even social updates, you can follow me on Facebook. That's going to be at meteorologist Parker Cox. That's my handle over there on Facebook. On Instagram, it's going to be at Human Barometer, but the O is a 0, so you can follow me there as well. But until I see y'all tomorrow for your Thunderous Thursday without the thunder, because it's going to be sunny and hot, take care and have a wonderful Weather Wednesday and gig 'em.